Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com. Everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors, and thank you so much for joining us this week. We've got a really special episode. We do this about every 3 to 4 years. We like to take a look back at the origin of Michigan Outdoors and Michigan Out of Doors. Mort Neff, who started Michigan Outdoors back in the early 1950s, was a very special part of really the outdoor legacy here in the state of Michigan. So we're going to take a look back, the whole show devoted to the beginnings of Michigan Outdoors and Mr. Mort Neff.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Greenmark Equipment. Greenmark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Greenmark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com.
By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows, manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan. G5 offers a line of archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com.
This moment brought to you by DTE's Clean Vision.
Of the skyline of Detroit, still another phase of springtime fishing lures thousands to try their luck on the Detroit River in quest of walleye pike, or pickerel as they are often called here. The strong current requires a unique tackle setup. No rod is used. The lure itself is oddly shaped, sometimes called a pencil plug, and the line is handled from a spring-loaded reel clamped to the boat. A sinker of a half-pound or more is on the end of the line, and above it leaders from 12 to 40 feet long stand out in the river current. With the sinker bumping bottom, the line is chugged by hand to impart action to the lure. A fine touch is needed to feel the strike of the fish, and as the line is taken in, the automatic reel gathers it, and these Detroit River walleyes run to a choice size. Both the Detroit River and the St. Clair River from Port Huron to Algonac are favorite sites for this sport, and by late May, the run is normally at its peak. While walleyes of 12 and 15 pounds are taken every year in Michigan, the average in these waters is smaller, but choice for food. Within easy reach of Michigan's largest city, it is little wonder that fishing here finds so many followers each and every year. And the net results make fine picture postcard shots with that popular caption, "Wish you were here." Michigan's Lake St. Clair has been called the nation's best for muskie fishing, and as many as 2,000 of these freshwater tigers have been caught in a single year. solid wobbling plugs or big spinners, whichever you choose, both must be preceded by powerful swivels and a heavy sinker to take the line down while trolling. You must be ready for a smashing strike as the lure runs no more than 2 or 3 feet under the water, just above the weed tops. The drag is set carefully now, and often a fish will strike only a dozen feet off the stern. From here on, your muskie is unpredictable. Some respond easily to the pressure of the rod until they get a look at the boat, and to the fisherman seeing his first muskie like this, well, the reaction may be, let's just cut the line and go home, and you can't blame him. But our first one of the day is not too large. He's lifted aboard without incident. A 30-inch fish is minimum size. Is this one large enough? Well, we'll get out the tape measure. Yep, 33 inches. Heavy-duty rods and reels are best for trolling in Lake St. Clair because a fighting muskie is the most powerful of all freshwater game fish. There's another strike, and about now you begin to understand the thrill of taking these great fish, of feeling the surge of power from that mammoth body, and of finally boating a fish that's an everlasting challenge to the best of anglers. More than half the muskies hooked break away during the fight, but today we're pretty lucky, and this one's of still better size. Back in 1966, for frosting on the cake, Michigan fisheries biologists decided to add Chinook salmon to our fish bowl. These were planted as fry, only a few months old, mostly in the Muskegon River. After a 3-year feeding spree in Lake Michigan, the Chinook, or king salmon as they're called on the West Coast, returned and things began to happen. Here at Newaygo, where an obsolete power dam partially blocked the river, fishermen of the big Chinook literally came face to face. The Chinook matures at 4 years, but these younger kings gave the fishermen plenty to think about with a display of acrobatics hard to match anywhere. The fall of 1970 wrote the biggest headlines with the biggest fish. The mammoth 4-year-old Chinooks came home, some topping 40 pounds. A few were taken in Lake Michigan, with the male displaying the vast hooked upper and lower jaws characteristic of several species of salmon. But the real action came in the Muskegon River, where in 1966's tiny fry, scarcely an inch long, the king salmon got its first taste of water in the world's biggest fish bowl, and how he prospered since then. Farther south, Manistee Lake, with a shipping channel connecting it to Lake Michigan, was the entrance to the Chinooks' homing waters in the Little Manistee River. Here they ran the gauntlet as hundreds of small boats trolled tempting lures and baits of every description. Many an angler was actually towed around this placid lake by giant kings, and despite tangled lines and a compounding comedy of errors, the Chinook won the hearts of pop-eyed fishermen, setting spectacular records almost sure to be broken again and again in the years to come. Michigan, Wisconsin, and now Indiana have all been quick to recognize the economic potential of this burgeoning sports fishery. Municipal and privately owned launching sites are expanding, making it easy for the boat owner traveling from afar, perhaps, to find adequate facilities upon arrival at his choice of scores of communities bordering on a scene that truly challenges the imagination. Giant game fish by the million on easily accessible inland waters. The coveted Pacific salmon, both silvers and kings, now an established species in strange environment, living and growing at an astounding rate from planting stock only a few inches long to giants weighing more than 40 pounds. And in the selfsame waters with the salmon, the mighty steelhead, the lake trout, and brown trout thriving to produce the most fantastic story in the entire history of sports fishing. It's all waiting for you now in the world's biggest fish bowl.
Well, it is really fun to look back at some of that old footage, and even though the technology has changed a ton from when Mort was doing the show to what we're doing now, some things remain the same. It really gets down to telling a good story like what Mort's going to do right now at the headwaters of the Muskegon River.
This is the backwater area of the Muskegon River, just a few miles from its origin in Houghton Lake. We're standing at Michelson's Landing, once a thriving lumbering community, now a ghost town. But no ghost is Mr. Wade Miller, boat livery operator and naturalist, with whom we'll explore this extraordinary wilderness area in search of nesting marsh birds. An airboat is the all-important vehicle that makes such a trip possible, for the wide, smooth hull draws only about 3 inches of water, and with no propeller underwater, it's actually possible to move over mud flats and, well, almost wet grass. A low-powered aircraft engine and propeller furnish the power, and with cameras poised, we're scooting along toward an unforgettable adventure. Air rudders over the stern plus a foot throttle control the craft, and because of the hull construction, floating logs or other obstructions present no problem to us. We simply swish over them harmlessly. Great blue herons build huge high nests here annually, and now in July the young herons are pretty well grown, but they'll stay in the nest almost another month, perfectly contented to let the parents feed them day in and day out. An osprey, eagle-like member of the hawk family, feeds on a bluegill on his lofty perch. And we're going in search of an osprey nest. Wade swings the airboat now toward an osprey nest that's not too far distant, one of 7 such nests in the area. This one is only a few feet above the water, and as we approach, one of the parent birds guards the massive structure, departing in whistling protest as our boat swings alongside carefully. Within the nest, which is used by the same pair of birds year after year, we discover this single youngster, which is normal for ospreys, although occasionally there are 2. The little fellow, here only a few days old, will grow astoundingly fast and will remain in the nest until late July, until his wingspread is over 4 feet. He's a little ticklish about our attentions and would rather have Mama or Papa Osprey shading him from this summer sun. Papa whistles reassuringly. Seconds after our departure, the adult bird drops back to the nest to check on the precious youngster, and as she comes in, we note a half-devoured bluegill in her left talon. Osprey are able to dive far under the water to catch fish, and some have been seen capturing a pike weighing up to 3 pounds or more. Miller visits these birds regularly, and they have become completely accustomed to him and to his strange airboat. About a mile to the north, the water begins to shallow somewhat, becoming typical marsh cover. Only an airboat could maneuver in such a spot where a scant 4 or 5 inches of water covers bottomless mud flats. Wade is now seeking the nest of the pied-billed grebe, a wary and somewhat furtive bird of our Michigan marshlands. When the parent is not setting on the eggs, she keeps them covered with wet marsh grass, which helps to incubate them. Now we move carefully, for within a few feet of the airboat is a grebe nest with an unhatched egg already pipped. If we're lucky, we'll see the miracle of life emerge from this egg, and we move again. Once out of the egg, the baby must move from the grassy cover to dry off, a matter of minutes, and he'll be ready for a swim. Finally, he clears all encumbrances, and he moves without hesitation toward the warmth of a human hand. Deep in the reeds, his recently hatched brother, dry and fluffy, floats like a little cork. The grebe is a very poor flyer, but a great diving bird, disappearing beneath the surface with incredible speed. Wade heads for another nest of youngsters now, and we arrive in time to find 3 of them still in the nest, and Wade Miller then turns to me and has a suggestion to make.
Mort, see if you can call one of those baby grebes in.
Well, I never tried that, Wade, but here goes. Well, it works.
Sure does.
And in no time at all, young grebes were moving toward our outstretched hands completely unafraid. While we were able to decoy the babies to us by calling, were you to see these tiny youngsters in the marsh, you might also see one of the fastest diving acts imaginable, for the webbed feet of these waterfowl are so far back that they propel the bird almost straight down and nothing flat. The fact that the legs are so far back is a disadvantage because the grebe is unable to walk on land and has difficulty taking off on water. All this time we suspected the adult bird could not be too far away, and suddenly she was in sight. 2 babies were trailing her, and as we hastily sighted a telephoto lens in her direction, the young birds dove. We watched in the super slow motion camera in an effort to slow down her dive, but as if by magic, she was gone. We're off again now toward a remote area, the airboat picking its way through channels to avoid actual nesting places. Miller edges toward cattails, points to the swaying reeds, a long, long neck with sharp bill straight up, and yellow eyes peer at us. And this marks an adult least bittern crouching in the cover. She is on her nest guarding 4 young bitterns no more than a few days old. Under such circumstances, a bittern will fight off all intruders, and it's best not to get too close to that needle-sharp bill. The tiny bitterns, imitating mother, strike forward at some uncertain enemy. Downy thatched heads sway hypnotically from side to side. The adult bird is extraordinarily handsome, with a purple cast to her wings blending into a marsh brown. Wade reaches for one of the youngsters as I divert her attention. The least bittern is the smallest of the heron family. Although it is a poor flyer, it does migrate each winter to Texas and the Gulf states. This one looks at us curiously, showing no great fear and probably enjoying the warmth of the human hand, a rare picture of a bird not often seen in Michigan. And so, for now, our exploring has ended in the great backwater country of the Reedsburg Dam at Houghton Lake. Wade Miller has taken us into a wonderland of marsh birds, a wonderland where the giant osprey is lord and master of the skies. And now is the time for you to visit our wonderland of marsh birds in Michigan Outdoors.
Well, I think it's important for us to take a look back here in the world of outdoor television here in the state of Michigan, where it started in the early 1950s and where we are today. As we look forward, I think we can learn a lot from those that went before us, especially the pioneer of outdoor television here in the state of Michigan, Mort Neff.
He was real versed in electronics. I wouldn't say that he was an electronic technician or anything of the sort, but he was well versed in it, and he thoroughly enjoyed ham radio. Thoroughly, he spent hours on talking all over the world, as well as I did too. Of course, most of mine is on voice. I do some CW, but most of it's on voice. He had wires strung up all over the place, and he was quite a man to say, well, I don't need an antenna built for that particular frequency. I can string up a piece of wire, use my tuner, and go anywhere I want to go.
Well, I think that he was a conservationist, which doesn't mean that you should not shoot something or that you should not catch something, but you realize that you have to protect the resources, and he was one of the first to get behind the bandwagon of being a place where you catch and release the trout. He had a place on the Asabo for quite a while and got rid of it finally because too many canoes went by. He liked it.
Mort died, and I lost one of my old friends, one of my best friends. So Mort was one of a kind. I don't think that you ever would replace a man of his caliber. Anywhere you go, if they know you know Mort Neff, they want to talk about him. So I miss him because it's part of my life is gone because we were together all the time, and like I say, I miss him a lot.
And as long as I live, I shall remember this statement he made about me, which I'm very, very proud of, and I'm not ashamed to make the contents available. He said, you know, Howard Shelley has always been my best friend, and he still is. Now, I cherish that, always have, always will.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us this week as we kind of took a look down memory lane at the beginnings of Michigan Outdoors and Mort Neff, and really all those folks that went before us, from Mort Neff, Jerry Geppetta, Fred Trost, Bob Garner, all those big names that really kind of set the tone here in the state of Michigan when it comes to outdoor television. We're going to do our part to do what I think they did really well, and that's tell the story of the sportsmen and women of this great state. If we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
By Alta Equipment Company, providing sales, rentals, service, and parts because uptime matters. From earth moving to landscaping and light construction, Alta offers over 50 brands across 7 Michigan locations to serve you. More information online or 844-GO-2-ALTA.
By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows, manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan. G5 offers a line of archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com.
This moment brought to you by DTE's Clean Vision.
Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. Ah, Michigame, win when it's stung. I say I'm say when in way I'm when manani I'm not.